FanDuel salaries are live for NFL Week 1, and this is your FanDuel NFL Week 1 way too early first look. We're going to take a look through the salaries, the running back, all the positions on FanDuel main slate for NFL Week 1. FanDuel's doing something really interesting where they're including the Sunday night game in their Sunday Million. That's pretty cool. They have a contest here, 792,000 entries, $5 to enter, $1 million to first place. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all of it, FanDuel scoring, how it works, how it's different from DraftKings, and break it all down. So let's jump right into it and talk about quarterbacks for NFL Week 1. If you've already seen my DraftKings breakdown, I kind of went through some of these games and went over some of the game tiles to see which ones were exciting. We've got a few games of interest in general with high game totals, one of which this Houston at Indianapolis game, both Stroud and Richardson in play here. That one has a 49-point total. We've also got Jacksonville at Miami, monster total game as well. Both teams look pretty good, but Arizona at Buffalo. Buffalo has the big team total in that one, also a 49-point spread. And then, of course, Rams at the Lions. Big game, Sunday Night Football. Already big news dropping. Jahmyr Gibbs injured in the preseason, not likely to play Week 1, probably. Hey, who knows? But it's way too early, so I'm going to assume he's not playing. We've already got effectively what is a free square in David Montgomery for Week 1. I'm going to go to it. Let's just plug our free square in before we even talk anything else. If Jahmyr Gibbs is out, Montgomery is in our lineup. So let's jump back over to the quarterback position, understand how the scoring works on FanDuel. Now, FanDuel quarterback scoring is basically the same as DraftKings. The main difference is because DraftKings scores other positions greater, like, for example, wide receivers with the full PPR, what ends up happening is the quarterback scoring is a larger percentage of your lineup's total score on FanDuel. And therefore, I think that's the reason why the quarterbacks are priced up a little bit on FanDuel relative to DraftKings in terms of the actual hard dollar cost. So with that being said, let's run through some of these names. And there's a lot of potential really good plays for Week 1 at the quarterback position. Plenty of them. Of course, Josh Allen probably stands out the most, but he's also the most expensive at 9,200. Allen averaged about 25 fantasy points per game, FanDuel points last year. I would expect more of the same here. Buffalo does not have a running back that demands the football, especially around the goal line. So just more likely that Allen's going to be throwing for touchdowns. So I always like him. Of course, at 9,200, it makes it more palatable because everybody that we might stack Josh Allen with is really cheap. There's no expensive player on the team right now. And I do believe there's no injuries as of yet to the wide receiver group. CJ Stroud's another guy. I mean, sure, big time game. Houston at the Colts in the Dome. Nothing not to like there. Joe Burrow at home, heavy favorite against New England. I mean, should be fine, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to go with Burrow in Week 1. I really like Anthony Richardson at 8,300. Again, the home portion of this Houston at Colts mega game with the 48.5 point total, 1.5 point spread. The Colts are the underdogs in that game, so that's something to keep in mind. But in general, I do like that. I don't mind the price here at 8,300 as well. So just a player to keep in mind. We did use Richardson on our DraftKings first look, so I kind of want to switch it up here. So we'll keep looking. Kyler Murray on the road, underdog. That's not what I'm looking for out of my QB. Remember, QB, I want favored quarterbacks more often than not, or somebody in a close enough game like Richardson where his team can win. Generally, losing quarterbacks do not produce tournament winning scores. Like, you win the game, you're much more likely to be in a tournament winning score, just how it goes. Although last year we did see underdog quarterbacks get there, but in games that their teams won. Dak Prescott is fine here, 7,800. No dominant running backs on that team, but they are facing a quality Cleveland defense. Tua at home, opening weekend is of interest at 7,700. Does not get it done with his legs, but Miami's liable to throw for 5 touchdowns in a game like this unless the running backs eat up all of the work. I'll be interested in those Miami running backs as well. Herbert's probably a no. Cousins in his debut with Atlanta, interesting. Jared Goff at home against the Rams. I mean, I'm not generally going to play Goff with Montgomery, but I kind of feel like you should have Goff or Montgomery in most lineups, with Montgomery being the main guy. But for contrarian's sake, I'd play some Goff stacks with no Montgomery. So Stafford on the other side of that game, again, road underdog, not my favorite. I think on FanDuel, it's going to be wise to try to pay down at quarterback. Look how much savings there is going from, some stud name like Richardson at 8,300. You're saving more than 1,000 to go down to, a Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, or even my favorite value guy, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the rookie quarterback on Washington. He gets it done with his legs. He can run. He's looked good in the preseason, and at 7K, I certainly don't mind that. I will have exposure to Jaden Daniels in tournaments Week 1 for sure. And finally, all the way down at 6,800, Daniel Jones. Again, very much playable, gets it done with his legs when he's getting it done. He doesn't always get it done, but when he does, it's with he involves the legs. There's no running back on the Giants that's all that demanding of the football. Jones could run one in. I really think he can make value here at 7,800. So I like my low cost guys. Even not Sam Darnold. No, let's not take it that far. But a lot of players, a lot of solid pay down options to to choose from here between Jones and Jaden Daniels, even Stafford. I'm going to plug Jaden Daniels in there for now. All right, again, way too early first look. Preseason is still rolling on and injuries are still happening. So we'll see some other situations clarify themselves. But of course, Montgomery, interestingly, is not even the cheapest viable running back on the slate. He was a priced up running back that now is not likely to have too much competition. So he stands out. I also like Kyron Williams in that same game. Kyron Williams has been spectacular. Again, I prefer him at home as a favorite, but I don't mind Kyron Williams. I won't play two running backs from the same game generally, but nothing wrong with that. Don't want to ignore Bijan and Jonathan Taylor, both prolific running backs. Taylor probably more of a touchdown scorer, but I see big things happening for Bijan this year and this week and all season long. Both of these running backs are going to be great. So we'll keep them in mind. James Cook looks good, heavy favorite at home. That's where you want to play a guy like Cook. Travis Etienne, yeah, okay. Kenny Walker, also favored home running back. A lot of good spots here to attack at the running back position. I think it's really interesting, mixed in with the new team. We'll see how he does with Houston. I think he'll do just fine. Devon Achane at 7,200. He's a lot more relatively expensive. He's a lot more expensive than some of these other names on DraftKings. So that's interesting. I like Achane and Mostert. I feel like I like Achane a little bit more, but both good, both good. A lot of good stuff here. Kamara more of he's fine, but a little bit more of somebody I like to target on DraftKings with that PPR bonus. I have a thought about Zach Moss. My thought is everybody loves Chase Brown. Week one. Where's Chase Brown? How cheap is he? Whoa, 5,400. So on DraftKings, Brown and Moss are similarly priced. Here, FanDuel does give you at least the benefit if you pay down for the sketchier option. But I think a lot of people like Chase Brown in week one, and they're ignoring the fact that what if Moss is the guy? What if it is Zach Moss and he's a home favored? He's at home. He's favored by 9 points. This is the kind of game where someone like a grinder like Zach Moss, much like Montgomery, can absolutely smash in some touchdowns. So Moss had some big games last year, but a lot of people remember his tenure in Buffalo where he wasn't that good. But who cares? He had the big games last year. So Zach Moss is a really interesting tournament play. I've spent a lot of time talking about him just now, but that's because I like the angle of everybody thinking Chase Brown is going to be the guy in week one. And what if they just roll with Moss? So that should be interesting. Aaron Jones on the new team against the Giants. Sure. Najee Harris with the new coaching staff or the new offensive coordinator. Interesting. Zamir White getting all the looks. These are great spots. So let's just kind of get into FanDuel a little bit. On FanDuel, you want to play running backs in as much as you can. So you want to load up on running back in the flex. So I'll be playing 3 running backs on FanDuel this week and pretty much every week. That's just how you want to attack FanDuel. So when we accept that, the next part is find running backs that are highly likely to score touchdowns because FanDuel scoring is very, very touchdown dependent. So we want to focus on players who are good at getting in the end zone. There's so many to choose from here, but if we could save some salary at the running back position, that's where we can spend up on those stud wide receivers who are much more likely to get us touchdowns compared to average wide receivers. So that's kind of how I try to set up my FanDuel lineups. I try to pay down at running back, even though running back's really important, but find touchdown scorers. So I'm going to talk about some names that could get it done for us here. Zamir White at 6,400. Sure. Why not? Right? He's getting all the looks for Las Vegas. The Chargers might be without Justin Herbert in that game. I think he'll be back, but it might be without him and just playing a backup, which makes Zamir White even a sexier play. Devin Singletary going to be starting for the Giants. He could get in the end zone. What's wrong with Devin Singletary? These sizzles getting all the looks, right? Jerome Ford. It looks like Nick Chubb isn't going to be ready for week one. Maybe Jerome Ford on Cleveland. I'm not in love with the matchup against Dallas, but I mean, it's something. James Conner's here. Gus Edwards might be the starter for the Chargers as well. He could get in the end zone once or twice. Robinson Jr. as well. So there are plenty of, and Jalen Warren down here, 5,700, underpriced. Chuba Hubbard might start. I don't know that he's going to have any competition for touches at 5,600. So FanDuel has really opened up a ton of salary for us at the running back position, almost to the point where Montgomery is almost not somebody you absolutely must lock into your lineup. Interesting to note. Guys, obviously this is a way too early look, but I want to announce something coming up at DFS Army. We have Bobby Wow doing the FanDuel breakdown sheets. Bobby Wow is a 2-time Million Maker winner, including the FanDuel Sunday Million. And he's going to be doing a main slate breakdown and cheat sheet every Sunday for DFS Army. So for DFS Army subscribers, if you're not subscribed to DFS Army, football is back. It is the preseason. We have our big preseason sign-up special going on. You could do the full year plan with promo code NFL24, knock $75 off the price. So you get the whole year, 12 months of DFS Army fantasy football for $225. Or even better, come all in VIP, every sport, everything we do at DFS Army, not just football, but all sports, basketball, baseball, NASCAR, PGA, don't forget soccer, cover soccer, esports. Our League of Legends subscription is worth the price alone. It's spectacular. So all sports using promo code VIP 2024 at dfsarmy.com. All sports, $20 off, $69.99. No better deal. It's not about the deal. There's no better advice you're going to learn. We're going to teach you how to use the optimizer, the tools, the fantasy projections, the ownership projections, the research stations, everything we have at DFS Army, everything that the competition doesn't have, and some new twists coming for 2024 that I haven't even announced yet. Some new tools we're working on. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, make sure to sign up at DFS Army. Promo code VIP 2024 gets you $20 off VIP. That promotion will end at the end of August. So make sure to get signed up now. It will be gone. We want you to sign up early, keeping it real. All right. So that covers the running back position. And there are tons and tons of running backs to choose from on FanDuel and NFL Week 1. I think to the point where we can kind of somewhat avoid, I still want to play these elite studs. Like I love Kenny Walker. I love a lot of these guys. So I think we're going to be pretty flexible with our salaries on FanDuel in general for Week 1. Let's jump over to the defense position. I always like to just plug in a team defense, get it done, and figure out how much salary I have left to work with for the rest of the first look lineup. So let's just find the cheapest viable defense that we can really see. Rams at Detroit. This is a no. Patriots, no. Cardinals, no. Panthers, no. Rams, no. Commanders, no. Denver, no. Falcons at home against Pittsburgh, no. Unless like somebody's starting that we're not expecting. Can't touch the Jaguars. Titans at Chicago is interesting, as Chicago will be rolling out a rookie, but Titans defense not very good, but it will be against rookie Caleb Williams, so interesting. Giants at home though, taking on Sam Darnold. Darnold back in New York where the ghosts were. Yeah, let's plug that in. That to me is the best viable option. Raiders could be that team if Herbert doesn't play, so let's keep that in mind in case Herbert doesn't play. And Chicago, actually Chicago going up against Will, whatever the hell the quarterback for Titans name is, Will fucking mayonnaise boy, Will Levis. There we go. Will Levis, Chicago. So that one's interesting as well on defense. I don't mind paying up another 200 to get to Chicago off of Giants defense. Sure. Maybe Seattle, I guess, at home against whoever Denver rolls out at QB. That could be interesting. Dallas is always a defense that you want to play even on the road. So that would be interesting as well. So plenty of spots to attack at defense this year, and 73-75. So after plugging in a pay down QB, some running backs, and a defense, we still have plenty of salary to work with. Let's take a look at the tight end position. Sam Laporta is king at the top of the heap here, coming in at 8K. I think that's a lot to pay for Laporta, but he was a stud last year. There's no denying it. Second studs on the slate would be Kincaid and McBride. Both of them great. I probably lean more Kincaid over McBride here, primarily because Buffalo's just the favorite. And if I need an excuse for one over the other, that'd be it. Bride is much more of a PPR beast anyway, although he's pretty much just a beast in general. Evan Ingram had a really good year last year, 6,200. Should be more of the same here as Jacksonville struggles to keep up with the Miami high-powered offense. So sure, why not? Ferguson and Njoku, all solid. Hawkinson not going to play. Dalton Schultz there, Brock Bowers. You know, all of these tight ends is plenty. Nice little mix here. Even Cole Kmet on Chicago. You know, one thing that rookie quarterbacks tend to do is they lean heavy on their tight end. I really like this price point for Kmet, all the way down to 5,100. That kind of continues to open things up for us across all the salary ranges. So I'm going to plug in Kmet here. I'm trying to see. We went with Jaden Daniels. There's not a clear-cut starting tight end for Washington right now. It could be Zach Ertz, but it could also be Ben Sano. By the time week 1 rolls around, maybe it'll be Ben Sano, the rookie. I think he was a second rounder, if I remember correctly. So keep an eye on that situation as well. But like I said, a lot of these, I really love Dalton Kincaid, especially pairing him up with Josh Allen. McBride is great in general. Pitts is much more expensive, relatively speaking, on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. That's interesting. If you're going to play Pitts, you might as well play him here. Or I'm sorry, you might as well play him on DraftKings and not play him here. But I do like his new quarterback situation, all of that. And again, Evan Ingram, plenty of solid tight end action on the week 1 slate. All right, jumping over to wide receiver. Take a look at this. We've built kind of a value lineup for the most part. I guess this would be considered more of the, let's call this the value lineup, right? Because we're really using a lot of value plays here. The quarterback's a value QB, everything's value play, even the tight end choice. So we're calling this the value FanDuel build. But what happened here? It opened us up at 8,100 to stud up at wide receiver, pay up where we need to. So I'm going to start with plugging in Tyreek Hill. You know, Reek at home, first week of the season, letting the cheetah out of the cage. You just got to have him. I mean, I like Lamb. I like all these other wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. CeeDee Lamb is currently holding out. Jamar Chase is kind of soft holding out as well. So I like all those guys, but I'm going to plug in Reek because he's the best of them. Justin Jefferson, fine, very playable. Amon-Ra, spectacular as well. All good. We need to bet on these guys getting a touchdown. Puka's got the knee. We'll see if he's healthy by the time the season rolls around. Mike Evans, a touchdown machine last year. Devontae Adams, great. I mean, so many great spots. Cooper Kupp, though, let's see here. 7,400. We can get Cooper Kupp in one of the games of the year for 7K. Yeah, let's plug that in. You might ask, why are you not playing Puka? And the answer is because Cooper Kupp's there for 1,400 less. Puka's a little banged up, and Cooper Kupp and Puka, kind of the same thing. So I'd rather just pay down, especially if the field's going to play out. Now, if we wanted to just leave it like this, I could plug in Devontae Adams, who's great, and stud. All the stud wide receivers, touchdown scoring running backs, running quarterback, cheapest viable defense. Man, that's all we need to do. Spectacular. But I do want to continue to sort of look over the wide receiver position and kind of talk through some of the values available. Obviously, I set up this lineup to pay up at wide receiver, and I kind of like this lineup right now as I'm sitting and looking at it. Really like it. I feel like it's playable, like as it is. The only negative is with this setup, we didn't stack Jaden Daniels. We didn't get any sort of correlation here. Normally, so if I'm going to build around a Jaden Daniels, I would switch a couple of these spots and switch in Mike Evans, yeah, on Tampa for the bring back. Where's Evans? Can get a bring back going. And then we'd have to switch in like a Terry McLaurin or something like that. Or an even better way to build this might be something like Dotson. So dropping a 5K Dotson in there and then spending the extra 1,900. Even if I didn't want to bring the correlation here, I don't know if I necessarily would need to, but rather spending this other 2,300 available to upgrade someplace else, like, for example, the tight end up to a Dalton Kincaid or something like that. So plenty of ways to build that correlated. But let's continue on, just kind of going through some of these wide receivers, talk through who's a value and who looks good in week one. Ready to talk about, I really like Cooper Kupp. Nico Collins in a game where it's going to be super competitive and high scoring, I expect. So he's priced okay, pretty much the same as Stephon Diggs. We'll see between these two who separates themselves and becomes the de facto WR1. We don't know right now. DK Metcalf, always kind of a disappointing guy, so whatever. Touchdown score though at 6,900, so it's acceptable. T. Higgins is fine. Drake London I like in week one quite a bit. I want to see what London can do with Kirk Cousins at the helm, so he's somebody I'm excited to click the button for, especially on FanDuel. He's going to be, I hope, a touchdown scorer. He projects as one in this offense. Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie, not sure what to expect there. Certainly interesting as a bring back in my Josh Allen lineups, just get a little taste of Arizona. Pittman with Richardson really is how that should go. George Pickens, who else do they have in Pittsburgh right now to throw to? They don't really have a lot going on at wide receiver. So I think Pickens, unless this Ayuk trade happens by the time you're watching this, maybe Ayuk is on Pittsburgh. I don't know. But as of right now, he's not. So that makes Pickens really interesting as well. I'm excited about Malik Neighbors this season. I'm much more excited than the field. I'm drafting the shit out of him in best ball leagues right now. So I don't know if week one is when it happens, but I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to be scared of Malik Neighbors in week one either. Terry McLaurin pairs up nicely with Jaden Daniels. So if I want to build a little more, another version of a correlated lineup, I could plug in a little TMC over here. No problems there. Yeah, at that point, we might go down, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, we could plug in Terry McLaurin to get that correlation. But I don't play Terry McLaurin outside of probably with Jaden Daniels. If Terry McLaurin is doing it, Jaden McDaniels is doing it well. Like there's certain players that if I'm playing McLaurin, probably playing Jaden. Like if your quarterback is cheap and he has legs and you're a wide receiver for his team and you're cheap, if I'm playing you, your quarterback's in the lineup. Calvin Ridley with the new team hasn't really, shown much yet, but we'll see. Gabriel Davis also, big play potential, could score a touchdown, GPP type guy. Christian Kirk, I think also kind of a GPP guy in a up-tempo game. Keon Coleman, the rookie with Buffalo at 56K. Okay. Deep ball. Probably a pair with Josh Allen piece more than anything else. And there's Jameson, who the coach speak is adoring right now. They love him in Detroit. Say he's taking major steps. No more Josh Reynolds. I think Jameson Williams could be a touchdown machine this year. I really do. So a lot of good plays. Remember that on FanDuel, we want to focus on touchdown scores, deep ball threats. Khalil Shakir might be one of those. K-Shaq came on really strong last year, and here he is at 5,400. Lots and lots of ways. Ooh, Ladd McConkey. Oh, yeah, 5,300. So Brandon Cooks at 53. Shaheed. All of these guys, Samuel, these are touchdown scores. So what FanDuel has done here, Josh Palmer all the way down to 5K. That's nuts. Min salary for Josh Palmer, who's going to be the WR1 first team in week one. There's a lot of value. Actually, it seems like more value on FanDuel, even than DraftKings for NFL week one. These wide receivers are just massively under. Where's Polk? They're just massively underpriced. 4,800. You can get actual starting wide receivers all the way down in this range. Oh, I love a bargain. Brian Thomas Jr., what if he starts? Curtis Samuel, I think he's going to have a great year, and he's going to be actually somebody they use for rushing attempts near the goal line. We've already seen that in training camp a little bit. So lots and lots of potential studs and affordable wide receivers and running backs in week one. Week one's going to be crazy on FanDuel. I'm not really sure how to attack it. So one final thought here on this breakdown, NFL week one, we've got this monster Sunday million. Again, 800,000 entries in this thing. How do you win it? Keep in mind how FanDuel scores. Touchdowns are king. We got to focus on touchdown scores. And I would say in a contest this size, ownership is your enemy. Not so much at quarterback, because in DFS in general, quarterbacks never get too highly owned. If certain position, like let's say David Montgomery becomes supreme chalk, crazy, too much, just get rid of him. As good of a spot as he's in, ownership is our enemy, especially in these massive lotto ticket contests. So we'll just stay away from any kind of chalk, put touchdown scores in our lineup, and hopefully smash. I do love Montgomery, so I don't want to take him out, but you get the idea. Good luck this season, everybody, and make sure to get signed up at DFS Army. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.